Hey everyone, we are on comic 2 of 6, and this one is called Waves. This is the Life is Strange comics where this follows on from the actual video game of Life is Strange, and in the franchise there was Life is Strange Before the Storm, Life is Strange 2, and Life is Strange True Colours. And then we have the comics that run alongside the first video game, because in the first game you can choose to either sacrifice Chloe or Arcadia Bay, and we follow on from Max sacrificing Arcadia Bay and saving Chloe. So these are, I don't know if this is like the proper ending to this game, but I've played Life is Strange numerous times. We also have Steph's story, which is now out, and we also will be getting a comic called Forget Me Not, I think, and we also will be getting another book with Steph and the other character in, because I've completely forgotten her name, from True Colours. So we'll be getting that this year as well. So I'm kind of looking forward to. At the moment, all my Life is Strange, all my video games are complete, all my books are complete, so we've just got them two out this year. So this is a book, as I say, this is called Waves, and this is comic number 2. This is so pretty, and with the box that I bought you do get little Polaroids, like pictures that I've put on my wall, and I will take a picture of them and probably just put them in the community post thing, just because I've kind of put them on the wall and I've used those like awkward double-sided stickies, so I don't want to rip them now by taking them off. But they're basically just so they're just little Polaroids of the covers that you see here, anyway, but just in Polaroid form. So I'll read you the blurb. After being forced to leave her beloved Chloe and timeline behind, time traveller Max Caulfield arrives into a new reality to find not only an alternative Chloe, but also Rachel, now very much alive. And then obviously it just says based on the fan adored BAFTA winning video game Life is Strange. Waves continues the adventure of Max in one of the many alternative realities from the critically acclaimed game, and finds her struggling to fit into an unfamiliar new reality. In this reality, Rachel was never murdered and is actually dating Chloe, and Max discovers a mystery boys with a unique talent. So in this story, we kind of look at Max in a different timeline with a different Chloe, and obviously it's not her Chloe because Chloe lost Rachel, who was murdered by Mark Jefferson. I nearly forgot his name, and obviously the internet got very very heated about him, as in very horny, just because of it, yeah. But in the comic, we have the previously what happened in the previous comic, so it just always gives you like a rundown. And obviously, we've left Max in that timeline where Chloe suggested that she didn't keep fighting the flickers off and just let it happen. We have such adorable, cute little artwork on each chapter. So in this one, Max is struggling to settle into this new timeline because obviously this isn't her Max. Rachel kind of passed in her reality, but she needs to figure out how to get back to her Chloe, and obviously these two don't know what's going on in their timeline. So it's kind of a story where Max takes so long to tell Chloe and Rachel what's actually going on, and when she finally does tell them, Rachel's kind of a bit weird. She's like asking questions about what kind of a person she was in that reality, kind of what she was like, stuff like that, which is a little bit depressing, if you ask me. But in this timeline, Rachel is kind of like a internet influencer. I can never pronounce it, and she goes by it's Amber Light time. But obviously Rachel wants to be an actress and she gets the role, but the problem is she gets it for Shakespeare in a play, but she has to be on the road for 6 months, and obviously Chloe doesn't want to go, but then Chloe does eventually agree to go. And also Chloe makes like a really good art piece where she calls it The Storm. Let me see if I can find a bit. Which is basically like a hint to the previous timeline. So this is The Storm, the art piece. And there's just so many hints as well. And we have the high seas make an appearance again in this comic, but obviously none of them Max recognises the high seas, but obviously she doesn't know them because in this timeline she wouldn't know them. But Chloe just keeps singing the high sea songs. We also have this boy here who appears in this comic where he can turn invisible, and he can kind of like, he says he steals what he needs and he doesn't like take the mick or anything, but he'll turn invisible and take food. He stole a tip jar, which is a little bit far, considering he says he doesn't go that far with stuff. So this is him, this is Tristan. And he basically, the first time he turned invisible was when him and his friend were held at gunpoint, and his friend actually died. I can't pronounce his friend's name because it's not like an easy name to pronounce. So he lost his friend because he then turned invisible for the first time, and his friend thought he abandoned him when he was right there, but he was just invisible. And obviously Tristan tries to help Max to pass on to get through to a different timeline, which they get into a different timeline. But for Max, she's not ready, and Tristan does end up making it to one of the other timelines. And I think this is basically the last we hear of him. Yeah, I think it is. So I think if I remember correctly, okay, so it's not in this one where he escapes the timeline, it's the next one, but he did. But basically we have the story revealed of how he found out he was invisible and stuff. And then obviously Rachel and Chloe go on their little adventure, and Chloe makes a little like camper van up for them to go. So that's kind of the story really, and how Max is struggling to move on to, well, not move on, but trying to escape this timeline, but also trying to get back to her Chloe, because she misses her Chloe very dearly, which I can understand. So I will show you this really cool piece of artwork just here. And obviously again I read this in one, sorry I'm just checking the minutes. I read this in one sitting. It was a really quick read. I read the whole 3 in like one go, and that didn't take me no more than an hour, so that was kind of cute. But yeah, and Rachel and Chloe are going to be travelling alongside the high seas on their tour, which is really kind of cool. So that's basically how the comic ends, and we have pictures about the last designs and stuff. I am in a Facebook group with The Life is Strange, and when I got these I posted it in here, and I also posted this all over TikTok because I really thought these box sets were cute. But this was Waves, and thank you so much for watching.